The classroom felt smaller than usual that morning, heavy with laughter that didn't sound kind. It was the kind of laughter that sticks to your skin and makes you want to disappear. A young boy sat frozen at his desk, shoulders tight, eyes lowered, while the person meant to protect him stood towering above, convinced he was lying. What no one in that room knew was that the truth was already walking down the hallway, polished shoes echoing closer with every step. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of truth, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. The boy's name was Marcus, a quiet, thoughtful student who preferred the back row and rarely spoke unless called upon. He was the kind of child teachers often overlooked, not because he lacked intelligence, but because he carried himself with a careful softness, as if the world had already taught him to be cautious. On this particular day, the lesson had drifted into a casual discussion about careers and parents. Students eagerly raised their hands, shouting out impressive titles, some exaggerated, some imagined. When it came to Marcus, he answered calmly, without flair, saying his father served in the military and held a high rank. The room shifted instantly. Smirks appeared. Whispers spread. A few students laughed openly, pointing fingers with the cruelty that often comes so easily to children. The teacher, tired and already stressed, made a decision that would change everything. Instead of redirecting the class or quietly moving on, she challenged him. Her voice grew sharp as she accused Marcus of making things up to sound important. She insisted that children like him didn't have fathers with powerful jobs, that he should stop telling stories and focus on reality. Each word landed like a blow. Marcus tried to explain, his voice barely audible, but the room had already decided. The teacher's disbelief became certainty, and certainty became humiliation. Marcus felt his face burn as tears threatened to fall, but he refused to cry. He thought of his father's promises, the late-night phone calls, the long absences explained by duty and service. He remembered the pride he felt seeing medals carefully tucked away at home, the way his father spoke about responsibility and honor. None of that mattered here. In this classroom, he was just a boy being told his truth was a lie. His hands clenched under the desk, nails pressing into his palms as laughter echoed around him. What the class didn't know was that this day had been scheduled weeks in advance. A surprise visit. A career day presentation meant to inspire students, arranged quietly with the administration. As the teacher continued her lecture about honesty, the door at the back of the classroom opened. At first, no one noticed. Then the laughter faded. The room grew still. Heavy footsteps entered, measured and confident, followed by the presence of uniformed soldiers. At their center stood a man whose posture alone commanded respect, his uniform adorned with insignia that told a story of decades of service. The teacher turned, mid-sentence, and stopped. Her face drained of color as recognition dawned, not of who he was personally, but of what he represented. A 4-star general had walked into her classroom. The air shifted instantly. Students sat up straight, mouths closed, eyes wide. The general's gaze moved slowly across the room until it found Marcus. The boy looked up, stunned, disbelief flickering across his face as relief crashed over him like a wave. The general walked forward, each step deliberate, and placed a firm, gentle hand on Marcus's shoulder. Pride radiated from him, quiet and undeniable. Without raising his voice, he acknowledged his son, speaking about integrity, truth, and the courage it takes to stand firm when the world doubts you. The room felt suspended in time. No one dared breathe. The teacher stood frozen, the weight of her mistake settling heavily on her chest. Marcus felt something he had never felt in school before, validation. Not loud or showy, but solid and real. The laughter that had once cut him now echoed in his memory, replaced by stunned silence. His father's presence didn't just confirm his words, it restored something that had been taken from him in those painful moments. Dignity. Worth. Belonging. The general addressed the class, reminding them that truth doesn't need approval to exist and that respect should never be based on assumptions or appearances. He spoke about how easily authority can harm when it forgets empathy, and how children carry the weight of words long after adults forget saying them. The teacher's eyes filled with tears, shame written across her face as she realized the damage done by her certainty. As the visit continued, Marcus watched his classmates see him differently, not as someone to mock, but as someone to admire. Yet the most powerful change wasn't theirs. It was his own. Something inside him straightened that day, a quiet confidence taking root. He learned that truth, even when doubted, remains truth, and that sometimes silence is broken not by shouting, but by unwavering presence. Before the story ends, take a moment to comment below with the word truth if you believe honesty and compassion can change lives. Near the end of the day, as the general prepared to leave, he bent down and spoke softly to Marcus, reminding him that the world will test him, but he must never let others define his reality. That moment stayed with Marcus long after the classroom emptied, long after the uniforms disappeared down the hallway. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of a time you were doubted or someone you love was misunderstood, please like this video, share it, and leave a heartfelt comment. Your engagement helps these stories reach those who need them most, and together, we keep kindness alive.